where today we will be looking at the regions and lands of Rhûn, a mysterious yet exciting place within Middle-earth, and a location we will hopefully be heading to with Nori and the stranger in the Rings of Power. So the first part of this video will be a little refresher and give a quick history and background to Rhûn, its geography, inhabitants, etc. And then we'll go through theories, ideas, characters we could see in season 2 of the Rings of Power. Make sure to like and subscribe, but without further ado, let's get right into it. Rhûn, located in the eastern regions of Middle-earth, is situated specifically east of Mordor and Rhovanion, where the Half-Elves were in season 1. Nothing is really known beyond the Sea of Rhûn, but in the Book of Lost Tales Part 1, Tolkien gave it the name Oronto, and it consisted of just large seas and barren lands. Now we have to cast ourselves all the way back thousands of years to the first awakening of the elves, which happened at the Sea of Rhûn. After a while, many of the elves travelled westwards in the Great Journey. However, some stayed, and these were known as the Avari elves. Just like the elves, men also woke in the east and met the Avari and dwarves as well. But just like before, many travelled west. There are 3 factions of men: the Edain, Druedain and Easterlings. The Edain and Druedain travelled west, but the Easterlings did not journey west. We will get back to them soon. Next up, we have the dwarves of Rhûn, who did in fact arrive in Middle-earth before men, and this happened through the awakening of the 7 fathers of dwarves. Some of the clans went and resided in Rhûn. Here in the east, they even founded many dwarven kingdoms. In the chapter of dwarves and men in the peoples of Middle-earth, it was mentioned by Tolkien that these races, including the men and dwarves, fell under the caste and shadow of Morgoth, the first Dark Lord in the First Age, and this set the tone for ages to come. Now, fast forward to the Second Age, the men of Rhûn recovered after the fall of Morgoth and continued to expand and grow. It is not known specifically whether it happened in the Second Age or Third Age, as Tolkien often meddled with their arrival, but for the sake of this video and the show, one version recorded the arrival of the 2 blue wizards into Middle-earth and around the middle periods of the Second Age, and they also travelled to Rhûn. The reason and purpose of their arrival and journey to Middle-earth was, according to Tolkien, quote, "I think they went as emissaries to distant regions, east and south, far out of Númenórean range, missionaries to enemy-occupied lands as it were. What successes they had I do not know, but I fear that they failed as Saruman did, though doubtless in different ways, and I suspect they were founders of all beginners of secret cults and magic traditions that outlasted the fall of Sauron." Letter 211. Finally, a prominent figure in Rhûn and within the Easterlings was Khamûl, the Easterling king. Khamûl was also one of the eventual corrupted ringwraiths at the hands of Sauron, and this event occurred around 2251 of the Second Age. So there is a basic history and backstory to the land and regions of Rhûn, and now we will discuss how this location could feature in the Rings of Power, alongside some theories attached to it as well. The first theories as to where the Rings of Power could go in regards to Rhûn revolves around what/who Nori and the stranger might see and face. First off, we of course have the blue wizards. So though we have suspicions, we don't technically know who the stranger is, but it was heavily hinted and implied that it could be Gandalf. So this storyline could be Gandalf finding the 2 blue wizards in the east. Of course, it can be quickly noted that it is actually referenced in the Unfinished Tales that Saruman goes with the blue wizards east, so this seems similar to the current storyline we are seeing with the stranger. But back to the blue wizards, we know the stranger has this constellation in the sky he is in search for, and maybe it is in Rhûn, with the blue wizards being close to it. Or it could potentially be that the stranger is indeed one of the two blue wizards, and he is trying to find his other wizard companion, and maybe that companion landed somewhere else, with the mutual destination point being the star constellation in Rhûn. The big question here is, will the blue wizards be good or turned evil potentially, as Tolkien never truly specified their allegiance, but by the end, as there were so many different versions, but the similar trait in all the conclusions is that they ultimately failed their task. And what you can infer from them ultimately failing their task is that they were overtaken by darkness. Maybe we will see the lead up to them being corrupted in the show. That is an alternate possibility. Now, another character that the stranger and Nori could encounter in Rhûn is Khamûl, the Easterling king. The Easterlings, as mentioned before, are the inhabitants of the lands of the East, and for a period of the Second Age, they were ruled by Khamûl. Khamûl went on to later become a Nazgûl, and maybe the formation of the Nine could be a thing that happens in the show, but maybe not this season. Maybe this season we get to see Khamûl as their leader and king, and have a small backstory before he eventually gets corrupted. In regards to the culture, inhabitants and visualization of Rhûn, presumably it will be something totally different to what we have seen on screen so far in Middle-earth. Tolkien himself described and envisioned Rhûn to be based on Asia, mainly China and Japan. Quote, Rhûn is the Elvish word for East, Asia, China, Japan, and all things which people in the West regard as far away. So maybe seeing that type of culture predominantly with maybe vast lands of dunes, very hot and scorching dry wastelands with huge rock formations, mostly orange color palette with cities of Chinese and Japanese like architecture would be a very interesting take, and something quite, as mentioned earlier, quite new to Middle-earth, as we've mainly seen lovely elven cities, kingdoms of men, even the Shire for example. This is something brand new. Though we know that Amazon recently filmed in Tenerife, and here are some of the shots and places that they filmed at, so this seems to geographically and visually wise, such as in the wide shots, will be the Rhûn we will see in season 2 of The Rings of Power. As to how this area fits within the storyline, maybe we're going to see the independence and ruling of these people and inhabitants of humans before Sauron comes to rule them and they fall under his sway. Or it could be that Rhûn is already becoming of the darkness, and we will see the beginning of its fall into eventual shadow, just like the Númenor plot line. Well, let us know of any theories or ideas you have of the regions and lands of Rhûn in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, we really appreciate it. Make sure to like and subscribe. But until the next video, my friends, goodbye.